Kobe Walter may have a lot of them crying. Now this week, Nate Oats of Alabama pushed Aiden Shaw out of his huddle. Felt like the officials weren't getting it done quickly enough. He apologized in the aftermath of that to both Dennis Gates, the head coach of Missouri, and to Shaw for the altercation.
I've known Coach Gates for a long time. I was a high school coach. He was one of the best recruiters in the country. I have all the respect in the world for the job he's done as an assistant and a head coach. No disrespect to him or his program. And I apologize to both Coach Gates and Aiden Shaw. And Aiden seems like a great kid. And it's an unfortunate situation, but I apologize to both of them.
Wasn't the only controversial coaching move after UCF beat Texas. They're flashing the horns down. This happens from time to time. It really upsets people in burnt orange, and it particularly upset Rodney Terry, who was talking to players about it in the handshake line.
When you do those kind of things, it looks very classless, and it also looks like you were just hoping to win. We never go into games trying to hope to win. We go into games expecting to win. So we don't act like that. You know, we expect to win. We don't jump up and down like we won a national championship. You guys won. Hey, we shake your hand, tip our hat to you, but we're not going to let you act that way in our building. You're not going to do that. You're not going to put your horns down and do all that nonsense.
That time of year, people get testy. It's intense. What's your reaction? Starting with Rodney Terry, you even had time to cool off and then still went there in the news conference.
I'm a Rodney Terry fan. Having said that, you just lost 3 out of 4, 2 of them at home, 1 of them is to West Virginia. So you are absolutely stressed out and you're a little bit more sensitive to anything that happens. Coach your own team. Control your controllables. End of conversation. If I'm Rodney Terry, all right, I'm more concerned about taking care of the basketball and defending the 3 than worrying about what UCF is doing. You know what? Horns up, horns down. Who cares? You know, the most important thing is your team. Let Johnny Dawkins, if he has a problem with it, when they go in that locker room, let Johnny Dawkins say, hey, we played our tails off. I love how we competed. I love how we defended. Great job of finishing the game. Well, by the way, you know what? That's not really who we are, but I'm really proud of you guys, and it's a lesson we're going to learn. But Coach Terry, real simple. Control what you can control. Coach your team.
All day. You know, first off, why do we still have handshaking lines? Why do we still do that? It's like the dumbest thing there is. Like this whole thing about sportsmanship to me, Dre, it doesn't make sense. Like when you outbid somebody for a company, you'll walk over to them like, hey, I'm glad I outbid you. Like guys should just go on their own way. But I remember when Coach K did this 7 years ago, or like 6 years ago, it was the biggest story in sports. Did it to Dylan Brooks. And he got lambasted. Like, focus on your own team. So I'm with that. I think at the end of the day, let that be a Johnny Dawkins thing, Drea, that he deals with the player more so than Rodney Terry trying to coach an opposing team.
Yeah, I think the worst part is that he doubled down in the press conference, Coach Terry. And we don't hope to win. We expect to win. I'm sure you expected to win when you were up double digits in the second half, and then they're able to come back. And the second thing about this Rodney Terry thing is that it looked to me like the players were doing it to the student section. The student section was right behind. Students get crazy. Student sections are doing horns up constantly, horns up at Texas. So if the players at UCF want to go horns down or they want to reverse the sign, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Louisville has L's up. People are going to do L's down. The Gators have the chomp. You're going to do the Gator, and then you're going to do this to the Gator, right? That is what happens when you're a school and you have a sign and you get to do it all day long, and that's your thing. Other schools are going to flip it and find a way to use it against you. That's just what comes. You don't think Baylor's going to want to do horns down? Now, their coach might have told them not to, but that's a huge thing. The biggest thing I think is this. This is Coach Terry.
Soft.
To me. In that moment. It's soft.
Yeah. Well,
it's soft, and it's going to be used against you.
That's pressure, though, man. That's the pressure losing 3 and 4 and overreacting.
You know, I hear you. I know, but he's angry in the moment, not making any excuses for it. He missed a chance to de-escalate it. The one thing that Nate Oats attempted to do, though, it was a more egregious situation in the moment, Jay, but he attempted to de-escalate it and apologize in the aftermath for it.
Yeah, I think these are both kind of nothing burgers, honestly. Like, who cares about this horns down thing? It's a team celebrating that just won on an opponent's home court. I've known Johnny Dawkins for over 40 years. He's all class. There's nothing about him that's not class. So I get it. Rodney Terry was upset after the loss. That's fine. But talking about the other team expecting to win, all that, who cares? The Nate Oats thing, I mean, that was nothing, too. It was a little subway push. Now, we can say you should never touch another player. I agree with that. He got reprimanded by the SEC. To me, it's over. But one thing we're not talking about is on the opposing player's part, don't come in the other team's huddle.
Yeah.
That's part of this, too. If a player had come in our huddle, which happened when I was a player, we got him out of there. And look, there was very little contact there. It was a de-escalating move, like get out of here. So I think it was a de-escalation move. But I agree, don't touch another player. But don't go in the other team's huddle too. Like that never would have happened if the player didn't go in the other team's huddle. If you want to be in the other team's huddle, commit to go to Alabama. Yep. You know where your bench is. Get to your bench.
Exactly.
Clearly, I think if Oats had it to do over again, he would have just spoken rather than making physical contact. Jay makes a good point.
Right.
There was actually a guy who wasn't in the lineup from Missouri who was in the huddle too, and officials could have done a better job probably.
And I get how the player could have reacted, but one of the things that frustrates me is all of a sudden, when you're competing and there's a competitive fire, like sitting next to this guy all the time, like when he coaches, one of the first conversations we had was an argument about something like it was passionate, right? Like, so you can't just expect to turn that switch off all of a sudden to make the right decision when you're embraced by it.
And you were on the set.
Well, I agree with Jay. If a guy comes in our huddle, I mean, that's. I mean, I'm not saying that Nate Oats needs to do that.
But there's a scary part of that
Yeah.
also, because if you push him, and Dre, you
may react.
He may react.
That's what I was thinking.
And that's a concern, because, I mean, you're putting a lot of pressure on a young kid to make the right decision.
I wish I'd thought of this, give it proper accreditation from someone on social media. Texas needs to get ready, to your point, because you're going into a conference next year where LSU literally eats an opposing mascot when they cook and eat gator. There are grown men who will get in the face of 4-year-olds from Georgia fans and go, right in the face of opposing fans. And Alabama had a dude go and poison somebody's trees. I mean, if you are going to get bent out of shape about somebody turning your hand signal upside down, you better grow a thicker skin before you come in the SEC.